All right, let's jump right into this explainer. You know that feeling when you're staring at a chaotic mess of tabs and notes? Well, today we're going to see exactly how to transform that information gathering chaos into a clear, verifiable, and highly organized process. Whether you're investigating the deep past or tracking down modern data, the way you structure your research literally determines the value of what you discover. So, we're going to unpack exactly how the pros do it.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the core research process, dive into historical research, talk about gathering past evidences, validating historical truths, look at tools to manage references, and finally, wrap up with choosing your research tool.
Section 1. The core research process. Establishing the foundation of discovery.
Research really isn't just frantically Googling things until you find an answer you happen to like. It's a deliberate, highly systematic path. It always starts with a sparked curiosity, a specific observation, and then it moves toward an entirely new understanding, or maybe the rigorous testing of a specific hypothesis.
Because of that, tackling any problem requires strict sequential steps. Think of it like building a house. You launch from formulating a broad research problem, do an extensive literature survey to see what's already out there, develop your hypothesis, prepare the research design, collect the actual data, and then, finally, prepare the report. You just can't skip the literature survey and expect your final report to make any sense. It builds on itself.
And these procedural steps, they really aren't just theory. They are the undisputed gold standard across pretty much all professional fields. From clinical nursing all the way to historical sociology, this exact framework has to remain your absolute anchor.
Section 2. Diving into historical research. Investigating the past to predict the future.
So, by interpreting past events with our present perspectives, researchers can evaluate a really wide spectrum of history. It generally branches out into a few distinct types. You've got bibliographic research, which focuses on studying specific lives and achievements. Think of looking at the impact of major historical figures. Then there's legal research, which actually studies how institutions like schools or universities were administered. Plus, you have studying the history of ideas, tracking how theories evolved over time, and studying organizations, which looks at the growth of societal institutions. Basically, it's all about making sense of the past to understand our current reality.
Section 3. Gathering past evidences, sifting through the sands of time.
Now, in gathering this evidence, we immediately face a major split. Are we looking at direct raw evidence from actual witnesses, or are we relying on interpreted secondary accounts from people who weren't actually there? Primary sources, those are the absolute gold. We're talking eyewitnesses, original documents, personal diaries, official records, and original objects. Secondary sources, like your textbooks, encyclopedias, newspapers, or copies of original objects, they're super helpful, sure, but they carry an inherent danger of distortion, mostly because the author is just summarizing what someone else actually experienced.
Section 4. Validating historical truths. Interrogating the evidence.
Okay, this is the ultimate detective question, right? How do we know the past isn't just flat out lying to us? I mean, how do we know a diary wasn't completely forged, or an official record wasn't entirely biased? Well, researchers answer this by using two highly rigorous forms of historical criticism to test literally every single document before they accept it as fact.
The trick lies in separating the physical authenticity of the object itself, which we call external criticism, from the truthful context of its words, which is internal criticism. For external criticism, researchers act a lot like forensic scientists. They verify physical authenticity. They're checking authorship, originality, signatures, even doing chemical analysis on the ink or paper. Once they prove the physical document is genuinely from the time period it claims to be, they switch gears to internal criticism to evaluate the accuracy, meaning, and potential bias of the document's contents.
And to figure out if that author was actually telling the truth, we apply these 3 core rules of internal criticism. First, the rule of context. You have to check what was said immediately before and after a quote to ensure it hasn't been twisted. Second, the rule of perspective. You're looking for organizational bias, like did the author have a hidden motive? And third, the rule of omission, figuring out what was intentionally or maybe even unintentionally left out of the record. It's a serious stress test for historical facts.
Section 5. Tools to manage references. Filing the paperwork in the digital age. Let's talk about reference management software, or RMS. This is the modern researcher's ultimate lifesaver. Honestly, gone are the days of keeping thousands of physical index cards in shoeboxes. These software tools completely streamline the academic writing process. They automate your citations, offer cloud storage, organize your PDFs, and they even integrate directly with your word processor so your bibliography literally builds itself while you type. Just to put the power of these tools into perspective, consider this staggering number: 7,000. Mendeley alone offers over 7,000 different reference styles to automatically format your bibliography. EndNote is right behind it with over 6,000. Having that kind of automated formatting saves researchers just an unbelievable amount of time, and it drastically cuts down on human error. Section 6. Choosing your research tool. The ultimate tech review.
With so many options out there, when we compare their key strengths side by side, distinct winners really emerge based on your specific needs. So you've got EndNote, which is great for pure power and its 6,000 plus styles. Mendeley is fantastic for broad operating system compatibility, including mobile and social networking. Zotero gives you that open source flexibility. Paperpile is custom built for a seamless Google Workspace integration. ReefWorks is basically the go-to for top-tier data security. And Citavi is super unique because it actually combines reference management with built-in task planning.
Now, a major bottleneck for researchers who are managing massive PDF libraries is free cloud storage limits. While Zotero offers a modest 300 megabytes for free, and Mendeley gives you a standard 1 gigabyte, Paperpile completely blows them out of the water by providing a massive 15 gigabytes of free storage space. So your choice is really going to depend on the sheer volume of documents you plan to keep in the cloud versus locally on your computer.
Well, there you have it. We've mapped out the entire rigorous journey, from asking a really abstract question to verifying the deep past, all the way down to digitally organizing your citations with absolute precision. The framework is built and the tools are right there waiting for you. The past is literally just waiting to be uncovered. So, what are you going to investigate first?